and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you may be listening to us across the entire globe. This is Dax Carlisle coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona, and you're listening to Tarot Insider. Now, normally I have my fabulous co-host, Suzanne Warnett, yes, the real British witch, with me here, but she's on vacation right now and will be returning in November, so I have a guest co-host. This is going to be a lot of fun, pretty much a trip down memory lane, I think. Of course, he's a special guest, but I'm calling him guest co-host because we did so much time on air together and had a lot of fun doing radio in the past, and I've been on his shows and vice versa. So let's just go ahead and bring Gary on. So Gary is a author, a life coach, a podcast host, a tarot reader. I could probably go on for, another 20 minutes, right, Gary? But welcome to the show.
Yeah, you can keep going with the accolades. I love hearing how brilliant I am. It's one of the best things I enjoy.
Absolutely. This is great being back on the air again with you.
Yeah, this is going back about 6 or 7 years, I think, with the Rowdy Readers, I think, when we were doing Rowdy Readers together. Was the first time we probably shared a microphone, so to speak.
Right. You joined the Tarot Guild years and years back. And one of the great things, it's like dating ourselves, going, 6, 7 years, and I've been doing radio for 8 years. Been doing the Tarot Guild for 13 years. It's just insane. Wow. The time just flies by, Gary. But one of the really cool things is from the moment you joined the Guild and you were wanting to be heavily involved, and then we had the radio shows and expanded the network. And I remember doing Rowdy Readers, and then I know your new podcast is Passionate Talk, but you had a version of that was a radio show called Passionate Talk that you did for a while too with us. And the great thing has been just watching you develop, and not just you, but lots of our members. For instance, the co-founders of the IAP with me, Maria and Janice. Maria started with the Tarot Guild around the same time. Maybe a year earlier, I don't know. It was like 2010, and now look how far she's gone, from starting off with the Tarot Guild and tarot, and then becoming a professional reader, becoming an author, creating courses, an entire organization, getting on the radio. She's been on multiple radio shows with me, and now she does Angelic Realms on Mondays. The same thing with you. It's been interesting watching your career, going from tarot, life coaching, authoring a book, radio.
And it's really what you set up with the Tarot Guild is wonderful, because it was instrumental in my life path or career path, or however you want to choose it, because you're not only setting up a place where people who are interested in tarot or any form of divination really can come and join a community and learn about it, which is also where I got most of my skills and most of my practice was with other Tarot Guild members, and just sitting around in a virtual bullpen, having virtual cups of coffee, talking about the cards and what we feel about them. But you're also giving people, through your certification programs, your life coaching certification, your NLP, your hypnosis, now the tarot certification, which I see is back, a wonderful way of really growing themselves as people and growing themselves as businesses, especially in the holistic field, and allowing them to go out and empower other people to reach their dreams and to achieve what they want. And it was the one thing that I really admire, and the one thing that I personally want to thank you for, because if it wasn't for you and the Tarot Guild, I would not be where I am today.
Thank you for the accolades.
Hey, I give credit where credit is due, Dax, and you have built something that's truly, truly wonderful and empowering for people.
Thank you very much. And it's great to be able to be part of that and to watch everybody developing, and you know, the way I look at it, it's my opportunity to virtually, through all the members and students, to help literally thousands upon tens of thousands of people, because everybody that we teach goes out there and then does readings for people, does life coaching, hypnotherapy, you name it, and it through extension, you know, as an individual practitioner, whatever it is, Reiki, tarot, hypnotherapy, life coaching, numerology, whatever you're doing, there's a finite number of hours in the day. There's a finite number of clients that you can see and help. Even if you start doing like group coaching or something like that, there's a finite number, you know, but by teaching and mentoring people, you're able to set up, you know, thousands and thousands of practitioners that then go out and help, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. And, you know, that's how I look at the legacy. And speaking of helping people, I just want to jump in for a second, Gary, and mention that we are a live call-in show. We're a live talk show. And so if you want to call in, it's 949-203-4840, our Orange County exchange there. It's funny, Gary's in New York and I'm in Tucson, and people are calling in through Orange County. Anyway, love Blog Talk, you know. And Suzanne, when she's on, she's in Maryland. She's about to, her and her hubby are about to get, well, her husband is in the British military. He's about to get transferred back to the UK, where they're from, and they're going to be going back to the UK. We're going to be really international on the Tarot Insider Show soon here.
Oh, cool.
But we're excited to take your calls. Now, you can call in and ask anything you'd like to ask. You can ask Gary about his new podcast. We're going to be talking about that on the show. You can ask him questions about tarot, about being a life coach, about creating your own podcast. You know, that's another thing. A lot of people want to start their own podcast, radio show, Gary, and they don't have a clue how to get started. Well, you know, here's your perfect opportunity.
Yep, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm getting a lot of clients now, and it's really taking me into a direction I never anticipated, that are coming to me and saying, hey, we love your podcast, or I love your podcast if it's a single person. How did you do that? Could you coach me on how to start my own podcast? So I'm getting people who are coming to me and saying, how do you do this? How do you decide what to talk about? How do you find your guests? How do you find your content? What equipment do I use? What host do I choose? Do I use Blog Talk? Do I do live? Do I go with something that's canned? How do I build a website? And there's all these questions that people really want the answers to. And, you know, Passionate Talk has been running for, well, just a month right now. It debuted last month, yesterday. And I'm very proud to say that in that month, we have already had close to 1,000 listeners per download, which is an incredible number for such an early time. And people are coming to me saying, hey, can you help me do this? So, folks, if you're out there listening live or you're sitting in the chat room, please call into the show, put the question in the chat room. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have on starting a on starting a podcast, or writing your book, or how to utilize social media to grow your tribe and get your message out there. So please, make this an engaging hour and a half, however long we have today.
Oh, and in addition to asking questions like that, of course, you can get a mini reading. We'd love to, you know, shuffle the cards for you and pull some cards and spend a few moments. Please have one question. People like to, you know, ask this and then ask that and then ask that. You know, we only have time to do about, you know, one question. The more specific, the better on radio. You know, it's hard. If I had 40 minutes with you, I could sit here and do a general reading and see what different directions that goes in, and then ask more questions and pull more cards. But we don't have that kind of time here. So if you have, you know, 2 or 3 things that are troubling you or that you're wondering about that are floating around in your head there, you know, narrow in on the one that's most important to you now and form that into a concrete question, and we would love to take your call and help you with that. The phone lines are starting to heat up. We only had a caller or two, and now we had a few more come in just now, Gary. So we're going to have a lot of fun on the show today. Let me give out that phone number again, 949-203-4840. You can, if you're listening to us live on a player, I know I put the player out on Twitter, Facebook, all over the place. You can join us in the chat room and listen live from the show page. And that's live.tarotinsider.com. So just open a new tab in your browser and just type in live.tarotinsider.com. That will take you to this show's page. At the top of the page, you'll find our call-in number, but there's also a Skype button. So we know we have people listening around the entire world. If you want to Skype in for free, just hit the Skype button there. If you're already on the page, maybe you were in the chat room before the show and the Skype button didn't show up, just refresh the page. The Skype button will pop up, and just go ahead and click that. You can also chat with us in the chat room and ask questions there, live.tarotinsider.com, or give us a call. Our Orange County Exchange, 949-203-4840. That's 949-203-4840. So I think people would be interested, Gary, in go back a little bit and how you made this journey. What led you from thing to thing to thing? Starting out with tarot, why life coaching? Why radio?
Okay. Well, it's a great question, and it's a rather long and winding road to borrow from Paul McCartney and the Beatles. But I will see if I can condense it into like 3 minutes. My journey with tarot started way back when I was 22 years old. I'm now 52, so it's been 30 years that I've been reading tarot. And I'd love to say that it started for metaphysical reasons or for reasons of wanting to answer the universal questions of why we are and how we are. But honestly, it happened because, I'm a little ashamed to say it, I wanted to get into the pants of a girl. And there was this girl that I knew in college, and I was crushing on her big time.
Gary, the many uses of tarot, I'm just throwing that out there,
You got to use whatever you have available, Dex. And I was crushing hard on her, and one night I saw her in her dorm room, and she was reading tarot for a bunch of the kids on the dorm, a bunch of the students on the dorm on one Friday or Saturday night. And I said to myself, here is a way I can get closer to her. So I ran out and I went to my local metaphysical store in my neighborhood, and I picked up a tarot deck, which was the Merlin Tarot, which is a beautiful tarot, but as I found out years later, is really an oracle deck. It is not a tarot deck. And I came to her a few days later, and I said, hey, look, I got a tarot deck here. I see you read tarot also. Maybe you can teach me how to read, right? Thinking, right? And she looked at me and she said, I don't believe in that stuff. I just do it to get beer money.
Oh,
and yes. And I was crushed. So here I was with a deck that I was going to use to get myself an inside track with the woman, and that never happened. But I still started working with the deck, and I started to become a good reader and understand it, but I was still a rote reader. I still needed the book by me. And then I met, years later, I met my wife, or the woman who would be my wife, and we moved down to Florida, which is where she was. And her family was religious. They were Baptists. Even though they were in the South, they were not Southern Baptists. They were Baptists from the South. And even though each one of the women in the family had the gift of second sight, I mean, my wife, my ex-wife, my ex-mother-in-law, and her grandmother were each gifted with empathy and second sight. They were just incredible people at picking up vibes and energy. But the tarot was a bridge too far for them. So the deck went away until I was divorced, which happened about 10 years after that. And then one day I was walking around while I was going through the divorce, and I was walking my dog through the complex that I was in, and there was this old woman that was sitting on a porch, and she called me over, and we started talking because, a gated community, there are no secrets. It's a veritable patent place. Everybody knows everybody's business. So the old woman looks at me, and we start talking. She says, I'm sorry to hear what's going on. And then she invited me in for coffee. I went in for coffee, and I started talking about the divorce and all my feelings. And she turned to me, and out of nowhere she said, do you read the tarot? And I'm thinking to myself, excuse me? And she went, do you read tarot? I went, well, I used to. I'm thinking about picking it up. She goes, you should do that, waggling her finger at me. You should do that. You've got the gift. You should do that. Don't waste the gift. You should read the tarot. And I'm like, lady, who the are you? What is going on here? So anyway, I jumped up onto Amazon, bought my first real deck, a Rider-Waite deck, and a couple of books, Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which is still my tarot Bible. I swear by it, and a couple of other books, and I started learning, and that started me down my tarot journey. A few years after that, I met you, Dax, online through Facebook, I believe, and found the Tarot Guild, and really started learning about tarot and building my tarot skills. And then I started reading for just friends and family, and that led me to a situation. I was at a Samhain celebration one day, and I was sitting across from a gal who had just opened up a metaphysical gift store. And she said, hey, why don't you come down and hang out at the store for a little bit? So I did, and we started hanging out, and a few weeks later she asked me to be the tarot reader at her store. So I went, okay, and I started reading tarot at this little metaphysical gift store in New Paltz, New York, by the college. And I found that my readings were not so much divinational, they were more coaching. They were more helpful. You know, people would come in and they would ask me, you know, when, the typical questions that all tarot readers get. You know, when am I going to meet the man or my woman of my dreams? How am I going to get my money? Where's the $1 million? When am I going to get my new business? And my responses would never be, he's going to be a tall, dark stranger standing on the corner of 33rd and Madison Avenue holding a yellow umbrella. My readings would also be, you'll meet this man when you get over the blocks. You're still hung up over your ex-love, or there is some sort of trauma that you had in your childhood that is preventing you from fully giving into a relationship. And the people would want to know how to get past that. And I said, well, I don't have the skills for this. But luckily, through the Tarot Guild, you were offering certification courses for life coaching and NLP and hypnosis. And I said, well, let me bring this into my bag of tricks. So I got all this certification to help my tarot clients move through whatever the issues were. And slowly more people started coming to me for coaching than they did for tarot. So I said,
Amazing.
okay, let me put the tarot deck aside and let me go into coaching full time. Now, around this same time, I was very into learning esoteric, metaphysical questions of the universe and all this, and I started Passionate Talk in its first incarnation, which was just a talking head show. It was me talking into a microphone about metaphysics and law of attraction and numerology and all this stuff for about an hour. Okay?
And by the way, Gary, by the way, even though you didn't have a guest on those episodes and it was you just, you know, waxing about the universe, I found it very interesting. Great shows. I wonder if you could still find them if you do a search on Blog Talk.
They actually are still there. They're still there, and they're still on iTunes, and I'll explain how I know that coming up. And Dax heard the show, and you asked me to be part of, I think at that point it was New Life Radio it was branded, right?
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I started doing the New Life Radio, and that by doing that and reaching a new audience by using the Internet and leveraging social media, which was in that day in its infancy, I started getting more and more coaching clients. So it became a point where I couldn't do the podcast anymore because I had so many coaching clients, I had to devote all my time to that. Around the same time, people who had taken some of the workshops on goal setting that I was doing said, hey, why don't you write a book on goal setting? So I said, okay, fine. And I sat down and I wrote a book on goal setting. That was my first #1 book on Amazon. I have since repeated that 5 times with 5 different books. And all these things led to a very great experience. And I was very happy doing what I was doing. And then around 6 months ago, the tarot started calling to me again, and I had no idea why.
Oh,
It was just
wow.
like a siren song, like the mermaid sitting on the rock luring the ship's captains to their shipwreck. Thankfully, it wasn't a shipwreck that tarot was leading me
We're
to.
hoping.
It brought me back to where I'm now using tarot again as part of my coaching. I'm teaching tarot as far as teaching people how to read the deck and use their own intuition to do so. And that led me again to, I've started getting into podcasting, just listening from a listenership. And I think it's a wonderful platform for people to learn and to gain experience and to learn from the experience and success stories of others, because I firmly believe that success leaves clues and that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I started listening to podcasts like EO Fire and This American Life, and there's another one that I love listening to that I can't think of the name of right now. It'll come to me some point. And this said to me, these guys are doing it. These guys are making money out of it. I can do this. I did a podcast before. I could do a podcast. I could probably monetize that podcast and have a few extra dollars in my pocket at the end of every month. So I said, what do I want to do? And I said, let me tie it in with my coaching. Now, at the time, I was doing courage coaching, teaching people the 7 steps to unstoppable self-confidence. So I decided to do a podcast that I was going to call It Takes Courage, and it was all going to be about interviews with people on how they overcame their biggest challenge. Whether it was a car accident, whether it was a divorce, whether it was a death in the family, the loss of a job, whatever it was, because I wanted to tell those stories and, more importantly, share the lessons that they learned that helped them move through that. And the funny thing is I would get on a pre-interview call with these people, which is about 20 minutes, just so I can get to know them, they can get to know me, and we can map out the episode. And every pre-interview went exactly the way I thought it would go. When it came time to record the live podcast, it would take a right turn, and it would go into all these esoteric subjects. It would go into spirituality. It would go into tarot. It would go into Reiki. It would go into metaphysics. When it happened 3 times, I looked at the universe. I said, okay, you don't have to drop any more bricks on me. And I scrapped the entire idea of tying it in with my business. And I went, I'm going to relaunch Passionate Talk, because Passionate Talk, even back in the day, was about discussion on metaphysical, high-level concepts about the world, our position in it, and the bigger universe at large. Only this time I didn't want to talk for an hour, okay? Because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure people got tired of listening to me drone on for an hour. My voice is not that melodic. And so I said, I'm already doing interviews. Let me change the focus of it and interview coaches, entrepreneurs, and what I call woke folk, okay? And woke folk are just people who are spiritually aware. They're into the metaphysical, holistic community, about their journeys and how they got where they're going, how they discovered all this information, how it's impacted them, and give the truth nuggets that way. And so the whole thing has come full circle in a different way, where I'm still doing the coaching, although my coaching is now less of courage coaching and teaching people self-confidence. I'm now, because of the success of the book and the success of the podcast, showing people how to leverage social media to grow their tribe and spread their message so they can sell their products and services and empower others and make a little money. Because the one thing I find in the metaphysical community, especially in the tarot world, is there's this negative association to money. It's like, and I had this myself as well, that we've been given this gift from the universe, it's wrong for us to charge money. And the truth is, unless we take care of ourselves first, unless we take care of what we need to, we're not going to be able to help anybody else. If we're stressing over how we're going to pay bills and how we're going to pay rent and the mortgage and send our kids to college, we're not going to be fully present for our clients. So I show people how to use social media, tying in with their gifts to empower others and make sure that they can make their monthly nut and hopefully a little bit more by utilizing social media and spreading their message, by publishing ebooks, by starting podcasts, by Twitter and Pinterest and developing their websites and blog posts and the whole 9 yards. And I'm really having a blast, and I will go back again. I know I'm harping on this, but it all started with the Tarot Guild and all the opportunities that you gave me to learn.
Sounds awesome. And you can start checking out Gary's podcast right now. Just open a new tab in your browser and type in passionatetalk.com, all one word, passionatetalk.com. And on his website, you're going to find the most recent podcasts that have come out. You're interviewing people all over the place. And I want to get into some of those stories, but let's take a couple of phone calls just to get things rolling here, Gary.
Sure.
It's interesting, you brought up about how it, kind of organically went in that direction. People started asking you, and I've actually been getting that recently too. People have been saying, you've been doing radio for 8 years. All of our radio shows then become videos on YouTube, podcasts. They end up on iTunes and so forth. How do you do that? You should put a course together. Now, we've been helping people for the last 8 years get on radio. In fact, we have slots open on Angelic Realms Radio right now. And if you're thinking about, doing a radio show or doing a podcast, go over and check that out. Open a new tab in your browser. Type in angelpractitioners.com/host. So it's HOST, angelpractitioners.com/host. And you can read all about our network, what we do, what we provide for you. We provide you, of course, all the mentoring and basically do it all for you, and you come on air and do your show. So we have a whole thing set up for that. But I am thinking, Gary, about maybe doing a standalone course for folks that want to do it on their own, start their own radio show on Blog Talk, not necessarily on a network, or start podcasting. It's a lot of the same, there's little things that are different between the two ideas there between radio and podcasting, but a lot of it's the same. And you can check that out. I'm really thinking about putting a course together, and it's interesting how you brought that up, and the same thing's been happening with you as far as coaching going in that direction.
It's funny that you should say that, Dax, because I have dipped my toe in the water of online courses, because it's just another way of helping as many people as you can. As you said, there's only a finite amount of hours in the day, and there's only one of us. So helping people one-on-one really doesn't scale to the point where you can really make an impact on this world. But by using podcasts, by using online courses, they're evergreen. They're always there. They're 24/7. People can enroll and learn from them. And I am starting to put together now what I'm calling the GKC Academy. And my goal for this is to have my courses, but not only my courses, but other practitioners, other people's courses from different industries, whether it's computer science or it's holistic or it's database design or art or whatever it is, sort of a one-stop shop where they can go to this page and say, oh, here's a course on blank. Let me enroll in that and let me learn how to do it. And so we may need to talk off the air of how we can help each other with this and bring your course to the masses through my platform. And it's really a wonderful way of sharing that information and that wisdom and really scaling up, impacting and empowering other people.
Love to chat with you about that. PassionateTalk.com. Go check it out. And we're going to I want to ask Gary some stories about, because, when you described the podcast to me, we were talking about, getting these, from each interview, you want to at least get one nugget from each of those entrepreneurs, spiritual practitioners, entrepreneurial practitioners, holistic practitioners out there. And I think it's fascinating stuff. But let's take some phone calls. 949-203-4840 if you want to call in. Remember, you can ask myself and Gary anything. You can ask about podcasting. You can ask about tarot, law of attraction, metaphysics, life coaching, hypnotherapy, you name it. Between Gary and I, we pretty much have it all covered. You could also call in for a mini reading as well. So let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? Oh, wow. I think they were waiting before the show even started. Area code 803. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Brittany, and I'm calling from South Carolina. How are y'all?
Great.
Hey, Ruby, how you doing today?
I'm good. Well, I wanted to do a reading, but I'm not sure how your readings work. But wherever your gift leaves you at, it can be career or love. You know, you can do either or myself.
Well, just pick one. Which is most burning in your head right now? You know, is it career or is it romance? What's more important to you right now?
I would say romance.
Romance it is, Ruby.
Okay, so Gary's shuffling there.
I'm shuffling. That's a real set of cards that you hear shuffling. It's not a sound effect.
Mm-hmm. I need that because, Gary, I was just going to say, you know, I use a virtual deck when I do my radio shows. I need a little sound file I can press the button and it sounds like I'm shuffling the cards.
Yeah, I'm old school. I need to touch the deck. I have a few tarot apps, but there's something tactile about actually touching the cards with me. I need that. So do you want to go first, Dax, or do you want me to
oh, no, you're
give it a first shot?
The guest. I always let the guest go first. I said ghost, and it's almost Halloween there. I meant to say guest.
Okay. So, Ruby, all I did is this is a standard Rider-Waite deck. The original Rider-Waite. It's the deck I always read with. And all I did was I pulled 3 cards. Okay? And the cards that I came up with from left to right were the Lovers, the Hangman, and the King of Pentacles reversed. Okay? So, Ruby, have you ever had a tarot reading before? Ruby, you still there?
My name is Brittany.
Oh, Brittany. I'm sorry, Brittany.
Yeah,
My
Brittany.
bad. Yes. Have you ever had a tarot reading, Brittany?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. So you know a little bit about the tarot deck and how it breaks down major arcana, minor arcana on the court cards, right? Major arcana is basically...
Go ahead.
Major arcana is basically your big life moments, your signposts, your big decisions. The minor arcanas are your day in, day out stuff like running errands, going to the groceries, going to work every day. The court cards I call the noun cards because they could represent people, places, and things, right? So the first card that I got was the Lovers. And that's interesting that it's the first card because you said that you wanted to concentrate on romance. And this I can tell just because it is the first card in the first position that came up. This is something that is really weighing on you. It's important for you, right? Would you say that?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, the second card that I'm looking at is the Hangman. And again, the Hangman is another major arcana card. So 2 of the 3 cards is major arcana. So this is a really big to-do. I get the feeling that in your life that all your friends are at the age right now, they may be getting married or engaged or they're pairing off, and you're sitting home binge-watching Game of Thrones on Friday night, and you're really not happy with that.
No, I mean, I'm in a point in my life where I chose to be at home to get myself situated because I'm trying to get my career on track. I already know where I'm going with that. So, you know, I'm just not happy with how my relationship is at the moment.
Okay. So it's not a situation where all your friends are going out. You're still at home and binge watching, and you're wondering about your relationship, which really works into the Hangman card. Because the Hangman card shows a gentleman hanging upside down from a tree. Okay? And in its most basic form, what it's really telling us is that we have to look at the world in a different way. Right? Because when you're hanging upside down, everything is different. Yeah. And so if you want to have that relationship, you're going to have to look at the world in a different way. You've been focusing on your career for so long to get it going that you may have not paid attention as much as you should to your romance, to your relationships. That may need to change.
I have. It's just that the point of him, doing what he said he needed to do, and I just don't feel like we're on the same page. So it's like either, he don't get it together, he don't. I'm still going to do what I have to do for myself. But far as my relationships, I am not the problem. I am an easygoing person.
Brittany,
I work through my relationship.
Brittany, I am not saying that you don't work through your relationships, okay? I am not negating your experiences in any way. I am just saying what the cards are telling me right here is that something has got to change in your thought process. Something has got to change in the way that you look in the world. Now, you mentioned a gentleman before, and this may be the King of Pentacles that is coming up in reverse. Pentacles can either mean grounding or they can mean money. I'm getting the idea that this gentleman may have been very well off, that he considered himself a caretaker, may have not been the best caretaker, but this is the way he looked at himself. Would this be correct?
I guess so, or whatever.
Okay.
But, I feel like, he always say how everybody has, he does for everybody and nobody, really does for him.
Right, and the King of Pentacles is really the card that represents taking care of everybody. Kings are the caretakers for the tribe, so to speak, the community. Pentacles is a card of money. It's a card of grounding. It's a card of what's the word I'm looking for? It's the card of reaping and sowing, of getting what you want, of growing this community. The fact that it's reversed would go to the fact that he does see himself as always giving and never taking. Now, my question to you is, Brittany, is if you have to change something, because the Hangman tells us you have to look at it a different way, perhaps what you need to do is not look at the relationship, focus more on the relationship, but maybe focus on a different kind of guy. Or are you still with this guy? Are you still pining over him?
No, we're still together.
Okay. This may be something you need to look at, because from what I'm reading here with the King of Pentacles representing him and the Hangman coming up right next to it, this may be what you have to look at. This may not be the right gentleman for you. And that may be the decision you have to make. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dax, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks for the call, Brittany, and hope that works out for you. We're going to take another call here. And let's see. It looks like area code 727 has been waiting the longest. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Kate. I'm calling from Florida.
Hey, Kate, where in Florida are you from?
The Tampa Bay area.
Oh, I lived 7 years in Jacksonville, which is kind of referred to as southern Georgia, but it's still part of Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's going on, Kate? What do you want to know?
I'd like a mini reading.
Okay.
And
do you have a...
You used the word organic earlier. I find it fascinating, the intersections of our lives and how we interpret them. When Gary walked by the room and saw the young woman with the deck,
yes,
clearly she had a message for him, and it wasn't about being in a relationship with her. However, she did change his life.
That is true, and she did actually change my life, so you're absolutely correct there.
Yeah. So, sometimes what we think is for our best and highest good may not be, what you said, the thing we're focusing on or where we are placing our attention, but somewhere else in that picture or image.
Kate, do you have a specific area that you want to focus on for the mini reading, dear?
I'd like which deck are you using?
I'm using a standard Rider-Waite deck, the original Rider-Waite deck.
I'd really like angel messages or just what comes through for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Gary, you could just do a message, right?
Yes, I can do a general reading. I don't have an angel deck. I'm strictly a tarot reader, so I don't use oral decks and I don't use angel decks. But we can definitely see what we have for you coming up. And while I'm shuffling this, I want to make a book recommendation for you, and that is a book that I've just finished reading about a month ago called The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer. And it's the story. It's the story of how he learned from the age of 16 to surrender to what the universe wants and to stop listening to that voice of negativity in our head and just go with the flow, and how that impacted his life all the way to where he is now. It changed my life. So just from the little bit of conversation we had, I think you'll really enjoy that book.
The Surrender Experiment.
The Surrender Experiment, Michael A. Singer.
Thank you.
And you are very welcome. And I'm just going to, pulling 3 cards for you here. General messages. Well, the 3 cards that I came up with, and Dax, I don't mean to monopolize anything. So if you want to jump in, just jump on in at any time. I've got the 4 of Wands, the Empress, and the High Priestess reversed. Now, again, we've got those 2 major arcanas and the 1 minor arcana. So what this is telling me is that this is more of a big situation than a small one. This is the message that's coming through that you need to listen to. Will have a potentially positive impact on your life if you really take this to heart. Okay?
Okay.
The 4 of Wands represents the beginnings of security. Okay? Specifically in a happy household, in a partnership. Okay? Wands represents passion. They represent what we really, really care about. Usually in business, but not necessarily. The 4 of Wands represents the beginning of that structure, that security that you're building. It's like the foundation of a house that's going up. The 4 of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck actually shows a chuppah, which is a Jewish, for lack of a better word, tent that is used in religious ceremonies specifically for the holiday of Sukkot, which is a holiday where we celebrate the harvest and we give thanks for the bounty that God gives us.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. I'm familiar with it.
It is a very positive card that's telling me that you are now building the foundation for something that's going to be very fruitful for you coming down the road. Okay? The second card, the Empress, would bear that out because the Empress in the major arcana represents the ultimate mother figure. She is the caring, compassionate. She is, for lack of a better term, the fertility goddess, okay? That things will just come from her. It's not necessarily physical birth. It might be, but I'm getting the feeling that this is maybe, do you have a situation where you're thinking about, or you've just been introduced to a business opportunity or an unorthodox opportunity that doesn't really set with where you thought your career path or your life path was going?
Birthing something new.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Gary.
That's what this is what this is showing to me. I also see that the High Priestess is reversed here. Okay. Now, the High Priestess is the third card of the deck. It's the second person that the Fool meets on the Fool's journey. And it represents the intellect, the knowledge of arcane knowledge, the secrets of the universe, but also just learning in general. And I feel that this is reversed, that there is maybe an ambivalence on your part of actually learning what you're going to need to learn. I feel that this opportunity that you are going for or that has been presented to you, you're sort of looking at it and you're going, do I really want to do that? This is a totally different career. I'm going to have to learn all this. I may have to go to school. Does this make sense to you?
I think what it is my reluctance reluctance to be the teacher in a different, on a wider, broader scale. That makes sense.
Okay, and that's what this represents. Now, this message is really telling you, the first two cards are looking at me, and they're saying to me, this is a good thing. This is going to work out in the end. Now, there may be struggles and challenges as you move through it, but in the end, it's going to be very good. The 4 with the sukkahs and the reaping of the harvest and the bounty that's coming through, the Empress, which shows fertility and compassion, and she is surrounded by a field of wheat, okay, in the Rider-Waite deck. All this is showing me that this is going to be a very fruitful and very productive situation for you, so you may want to lean towards going in that direction.
Gary, let me jump in for a second.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you. I can feel it.
Yeah, because I got the Empress card too, pulled a few cards, got the Empress card, and then the other message coming through is unused talents and the need to invest in something new. And I think it just complements what Gary's already said.
Mm-hmm. That foundation that the 4 of Wands was showing. Yeah.
Oh, the dogs are going crazy.
The dog just woke up.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm house sitting over here, and somebody pulled into the driveway, and there you go. It happens. But thanks, Kate. Thanks for the call. And
wonderful reading. Thanks for.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kate. And don't forget to check out that book. It really is a wonderful, wonderful book. I think you'll enjoy it.
Great book idea there, Gary. So before we take some more calls, I just wanted to mention, we've been waxing on about the Tarot Guild, earlier, and I especially loved how you got that first deck and then realized that, oh, this is not actually a tarot deck, it's an oracle deck. There has to be 78 cards, there has to be the major and minor arcana for it to really be a tarot deck. And membership in the Tarot Guild is normally $78 for the whole year. So it's an annual membership. You get all the benefits of being a member for an entire year, all the free classes we do and workshops and private interviews and so forth. Well, we're doing a fall sale right now, and we've made the price $47 instead of $78. So it's only $47 to join the Tarot Guild for an entire year right now. Big savings, and not only just that, but we're throwing in certification, Gary. Normally $78 for. Yes, I know. We're going crazy with the fall sale here. We're throwing in certification. Normally $78 for non-members, $47 for members. So you get a discount anyway when you're a member, but we're just throwing it in. There you go. Not only that, but our beginner's course, Tarot by the Numbers, it's a $297 course. Yeah, we're throwing that in too. That's right. All for $47. Yes.
That's a good deal.
Go over and check it out, folks. It's tarotguild.org is our main website. You can open a new tab in your browser and type in tarotguild.org/join47. So you get that 47 discount there. tarotguild.org/join47. There's a discount code. It's MBR47. MBR is short for member. So it's M as in Mary, B as in boy, R as in Rick, 47. MBR 47 is the discount code that you put in on the membership checkout page so that it changes the price from $78 to $47. So go check that out, tarotguild.org/join47. Use that discount code MBR47. We'd love to have you as a member, and you can go over to the Tarot Guild website and click on Join the Guild at the top of any page, and it's going to list out all the incredible benefits you get as a member of the Guild. And you kind of got a taste of that journey earlier in the beginning of the show from Gary's own experience. And before we take another call, Gary, I wanted you to just briefly talk a little bit about some of the guests, some of the types of guests that you've had on Passionate Talk, and any nuggets that you've already gleaned. I know it's only been a month you've been putting the podcast out. And if you want to listen to all those, go over to passionatetalk.com and check it out after the show here. But, what can you give us a taste of for the podcast?
Well, I have interviewed some wonderful, fascinating people who have been nurses and who are scenic directors and makeup artists, Reiki healers. Matter of fact, I was editing the episode with the Reiki healer that I had to stop about halfway through to make it to the show on time. And they're really fascinating conversations. The Reiki healer, that episode is going to be airing, I think, December 23rd, somewhere around Christmas. He was telling the story of how he was helping a friend of his who had been put into a medical-induced coma in the hospital, and no one could seem to reach him. His vitals were not getting better. The doctors weren't too happy with his condition, and he asked his friend's mother if he could perform a Reiki session for him. So he's in the hospital giving Reiki on the QT because, as he describes it, it's a very conservative hospital, very Western conservative hospital that doesn't really buy into alternative medicine or energy healing or Eastern philosophies. So he's got to do all this on the QT. And he tells the story of how he's sending his energy through to the patient, and all of a sudden he connected with the soul of the patient. And he started having this conversation with the guy while he was in the coma. And
that's just fascinating.
Finds out, that the guy, it was a suicide attempt, it was an overdose, and that the guy is talking about why he did it and that he was very sorry. And he says that this was the first time he ever connected with, as he called it, the subconscious. I'm going to call it the soul. And how after that session, 3 days after that session, the Reiki healing and the communication, the patient started to get better, so much better that they actually removed him from the medically induced coma. And 6 months later, he was happy and healthy. He has changed his entire life around now. He no longer is a drug addict, no longer has thoughts of suicide. He spends 2 or 3 hours communing with nature every day. And that just blew my mind. Another guest I had, an old friend of both you and I, Reiki Cummins. I had a wonderful conversation with her. The conversation was so great that it actually took 4 episodes for the entire conversation, because these episodes are usually between 25 and 30 minutes. And Reiki and I had such a great time, I couldn't throw any of it out, so I had to use all of it. And Reiki talks about when she was working for NASA, and she is an engineer who worked on 4 shuttle missions, starting with the Columbia, and tells the story of how she grew a little side business within NASA on tarot reading in NASA to these hotshot engineers and scientists, and what that was like and how they would come to her, which was absolutely hysterical because, as you could imagine, these scientists, they want to be everything by the book and everything is by the scientific method, and we don't believe in things we can't see and can't touch. And they're stopping her in the hallway and they're bringing her in the corner and they're whispering, "Are you the tarot reader? Could you do me a reading? I really think I screwed up my career. I need some help here." And this happened over and over again with her. She also tells the story of how the law of attraction, and she put it forth to get her perfect job in working for NASA. In Florida. She was in California at the time, and she had just been downsized from California. And she tells the story of how she envisioned this one building, or car sitting in the building in front of the parking lot, in front of this building. It's the big tall one where they store the rockets, and how 6-7 months after that, she actually was sitting in front of that building for starting her first day at work. there are stories of another gentleman you may know, Andrew. I'm sorry, I can't think of your name. Mick somebody or another, the gentleman who owns the Hermit's Lamp. And he's telling the story of how his spiritual journey and journey of awakening started when he got hit by a truck while on vacation, and how he was in the hospital for 28 days, and how that just changed his entire life. The information that people are sharing, or as I call it, the truth nuggets on the wisdom, the one thing that keeps coming through from everybody is to take time to meditate, to take time to stay in nature, to journal. It's amazing how I've done like 40 or 45 of these interviews so far, and almost every single piece of advice comes down to take time to meditate, take time to journal, that follow your dreams. I love it. One time, a guy by the name of Jim Bray, who was a wonderful makeup artist who has worked on movies and web series and Star Trek fan films and TV shows, and he tells the story of how he got commissioned, one of the only people in the world to be commissioned by the British government to make a replica of the Rosetta Stone for the military museum. I mean, his work is in Disney and Islands of Adventure and the Smithsonian Institution. And the one piece of advice he gave, and he says it in Latin, I don't remember the Latin, but what he says is, don't let the bastards grind you down. And that to me was everything, because it goes to everything I believe. Do what you want. Follow your dreams and passions. State your intention and move forward with a single-mindedness of purpose. Use focus. Follow one course until success. And that is what he brought to the table. It's just, I'm learning so much, it's almost like I'm not even working doing this. I'm having a blast and learning so much from these interviews. It's great.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done a lot of them already, 45 or so. And it's like a mini university there. You get to learn so much for free.
Absolutely. It's absolutely true, because every guest brings their unique experience, and I ask each guest their one piece of advice. What one piece of advice would you give to a person who finds themselves in your situation? What could they do? And it's amazing how the advice is always very similar.
I see. Oh, speaking of advice, let's take a couple more calls. And meanwhile, you can get ready there, folks. Open another tab in your browser, type in passionatetalk.com, and you can get in on some of these fantastic interviews. Let's see. We're going to go to area code 347. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Tanika. I'm calling from New York.
Hey, Tanika, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
So what's up?
I wanted to know, I have a phone interview that's coming up today, and it's for a job that I'm interested in getting, and I wanted to know if you saw me doing well in the phone interview and if you saw me getting the job.
Okay, Dax, you want to take that? I'll follow up behind you.
Oops, I'm sorry. I was doing something else. Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry about that, Taniko. We're still here.
We're here. Let's do a quick one here and see what we're getting. And Gary's shuffling in the back there. Oh gosh, I hate when I do this. When you pull the cards, Gary, for a yes/no, I'm doing it just as a yes/no. And it can go one way. You can get a lot of yes cards, and go the other way. You get a lot of no cards, or you can get maybe. And that's exactly what I'm getting. It's like a really muddled answer here.
Okay, I might be able to add some clarity onto that. I pulled 3 cards while you were doing your yes/no. The 3 cards I received was the Devil, the 5 of Wands, and the Page of Swords. Okay? Is this a job that you really that you almost have a, forgive the phrase, a romantic want for it? It's like you put the job up on a pedestal or something?
I mean, I guess it's a job that I really do want.
Okay.
I'd be really excited about it.
The Page of Swords is a card. The pages represent students. They represent young people. Swords is a card of communication and intelligence. And in this situation, the page is sitting there, and he's standing on a hill, and he always looks like to me that he's about to break into song in a Broadway musical and profess the love of his life. You know, that's just the image I get whenever I look at this card. So you may be putting a little bit too much into this position, because the other 2 cards are telling me that the Devil is a card that shows being chained, that you're almost putting all your hopes into this one basket, so to speak. Okay? And the 5 of Wands shows it shows people that are sparring. They're pushing the boundaries. They're sparring. They're fighting. It's not to the death, you know. So it's not a really serious situation, so to speak. But there is a fight. There is a struggle there. So I'm going to say that this situation may not work out for you. Okay?
Okay.
But, you know, Gary, that's you don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but that's kind of what I was getting. Like I said, you know, it came out. It could go either way. I mean, there's still hope. I got the Star card.
It could, and that is true, because what I'm seeing is the conflict in the 5, which is not that serious. So it may go either way, and I have to apologize. The way I am as a reader is I'm very blunt. You know, my overriding belief is I'm here to serve and here to help. And if I sugarcoat something, or if I just a yes man, I'm not really giving you all the information you can use to make an informed decision. Okay? And I have been accused of being rather blunt, and I do apologize about that. Dax is correct that it still could go either way, because that 5 is just showing conflict. You may find yourself having a lot of disagreements with this interviewer on the phone. You know, like you almost want to jump down his throat and get into an argument, or vice versa. And it may not be the right position for you ultimately, even though you are pining for it, or you're putting your hopes on it.
Yeah, it's the feeling I'm getting. I got a 5 card. It was the 5 of coins, you know. But there's, like I said, the 2 major arcana cards that showed up, the Star card and the Temperance card. So it's kind of leaning more towards probable no right now, but there's always hope when the Star card shows up. And Temperance, of course, is talking about moderation and balance and blending and cooperation, but it also talks about diplomacy. So that might be a part of what's going on here. There's also see, I'm getting cards talking about, you know, like dogged determination, and I feel like it's the same as what Gary's talking about, like that you're going to be successful as long as you're determined and you're, you know, open to being diplomatic about, you know, in interviews and negotiations and stuff like that, you know, but don't close the door to the universe bringing you something else. In fact, the very last card is the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups is all the way off to the right, and he's facing and moving off into the future. So there's another opportunity, one that could be a better opportunity, allowing you to express, your artistic ability more, and something that's going to be more emotionally satisfying than what you're focusing on right now. I don't know if that makes any sense. Tamika? Hello, Tamika.
I think we lost Tanika.
Okay. Her line's still open, but she's not there. Well, I hope that helped her out. And we're going to go on to another call. I did want to mention that it's only 2 days till our first annual live on-air Halloween bash.
Oh, cool.
We're doing a Halloween bash for the first time on air, Gary, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing a Halloween spread and have everybody that's calling in and or listening to the radio broadcast. And it's a private radio broadcast. It won't be advertised on Blog Talk like our other shows. And, of course, we'll be offering free readings as well, but we'll be chatting about Halloween, All Souls Day, the spirit realm. We'll be doing Q&A, so anything you want to ask or discuss. We're going to be talking about Janice Fuchs, her 7 ways to contact spirit, and we're going to be giving that away to everybody that attends as a PDF, along with a bunch of other treats, Halloween treats free gifts we're going to be giving away during the broadcast, and everybody's going to get them. And there's audio meditations, there's spreads, there's PDF articles, all kinds of things that we're going to be giving away. And you can go check that out right now on the tarotguild.org website, tarotguild.org/Halloween. We'll take you right there, tarotguild.org/Halloween. So we'd love it if you could join us. And that's this Saturday, the 28th. And it's, 3 p.m. Eastern. So that would be noon my time, West Coast time, noon, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and that would be 8 p.m. London, UK. So I hope you all can join us over there. Let's see here. Who's been waiting the longest? Looks like area code 414. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. My name is Felicia, and I'm calling from Tennessee.
Hey, Felicia.
Wow, we're getting callers all over the place. That's great.
I'm good.
So what's your question for us today?
Well, I was trying to see, well, I know in my spirit that we're going to get a home, but I'm trying to see, would it come from my, do I have to borrow it for my pension, or would we come up with finances for a down payment for a home that my husband and I are looking for? How would that transpire, in other words?
Okay. Can you say it one more time? So I
sort of missed that myself.
Sorry.
I apologize.
My husband and I are purchasing a home. Now, I can borrow it against my pension, or we're gonna find other routes to be able to get the down payment for this home. Would it be through the pension, or would it be other areas that I can look to find help for a down payment?
Okay, so you want to know whether you should borrow against your pension or search for another way of getting the down payment for the house, correct?
Yes. Is there another way?
I just want to preface this by saying neither Dax or I are financial planners, financial analysts in any way, shape, or form. So your best bet would be to talk with one of them.
Yeah.
Okay? Having said that, let's see what we come up with.
Just right off the bat, Gary, I'm going to throw out there that I'm getting a pretty strong no on this. That you should not be dipping into the retirement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of...
I'll agree with that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of the other cards I'm getting are talking about there are a lot of other ways to accomplish this without having to dip into the pension.
Okay.
The tarot really does not like you doing that. It's coming up pretty.
What I'm getting, Felicia, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I got the name right. Is, again, I pulled 3 cards. I got 10 of Cups reversed, the 8 of Swords reversed, and the King of Cups. Okay? The 10 of Cups shows it's the ultimate expression of love. It's the completion of the journey of Cups, which is love and happiness and family life. And there's a happy couple, and they're praising the skies, and their children are dancing in the wonderful fields, and there's a beautiful rainbow over it, but it's reversed. Now, when the cards come up reversed, it either means that it's the reversal of what the card says, or it's a blockage of some sort. Okay? In this case, it's saying if you do this, if you take from your pension, you'll get the house, but your relationship, your family life is going to suffer because of it. This may come up and have certain negative effects with communication or even the emotional aspect of the relationship you have with your husband. Okay? So I would say that's a no there. I'm also showing here, because we have the eight of Swords. Now, Swords is communication, it's intelligence. And the 8 of Swords shows a woman who is being bound in blindfold in a field that's drying up, being surrounded by 8 swords. And there's a trickle of water going all around her. Water represents your intuition, your creativity. Okay? She's not accessing this. There is other ways you can do this, but I feel that you're focusing so much on borrowing from your pension because that may be the easiest or the most obvious, that you're not exploring other ways.
Or most expedient way, yeah.
Or most expedient, that you're not exploring the other ways, and you're not accessing your creativity and your intuition, which will help you find these other ways. Okay. Now, I do see King of Cups, and the King is, I'm seeing an older gentleman that has a familiar relationship with you. Okay. That may lead you to that other way. So I don't know if it is a boss that you're very close with, if it's a father, a father-in-law, someone that you have a close relationship with. That's
Gary.
an older man. Yes.
Gary, I got to jump in because I got the same thing. I love when these readings are synchronistic. I got the King of Cups too. You know, this is somebody that's successful. They're shrewd, kind, considerate. Might be more liberal-minded, artistic. You know, that kind of person. A little bit reserved, perhaps. Somebody you've gone to them before for wise counsel, a source of comfort. Now, and this person's really shrewd. They have ideas. They can help you go in the right direction and find, end up with the other route you can go down that's actually going to be ultimately a lot better for you than going the expedient route. You know, just, I'm just going to take the down payment out of the pension funds, and ultimately, it's not that it would be terrible, but you're going to find yourself in a much better financial situation if you take the slightly longer route. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Awesome. Glad we could help you out.
Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye, Felicia. And normally we end the show, just so you know, Gary, normally we end the show at the top of the hour, but I always put a buffer in of some more time. So, it's up to you whenever you need to go. We can end the show, but if you want to take another call or two, let me know.
Okay, well, I do want to say two things. Number one, I think it's very interesting that this has got to be the only time most people look at tarot readers and they look at mostly women. And I think this is a very unique thing that you've got two guys that are actually very adept and very studied tarot readers here on the same show. Because that doesn't happen very often. I that just hit me.
I know. I was thinking about that. It's really cool, actually. It's rare.
And before we go on and take another call, since we are coming up to the end of the show with the buffer, I do want to let your audience know. I know we spoke earlier about the online courses when you were talking about wanting to impact more people. And I touched on the fact that I am starting an online academy with a whole soup to nuts courses. Right now, the first course that I'm working on is a course on gratitude, which is 30 days to experience more gratitude in your life. And it's a 5-day course that will show you simple, practical ways to become happier and more joyous in your life by increasing the gratitude by doing simple things that you can do in an hour of a day. Now, this course currently is in a pilot program, meaning I'm still developing it. And I'm currently looking for about 20, 25 people who want to help me develop this course and really take place and participate and engage with me in designing a course that they would want to have. So they'll be able to give me direct feedback. They will be able to tell me what they like about the course, what they don't like about the course, what they want to see in the course. When the course launches, its official public launch, it's going to be January or February in 2018, and it's going to be $200, $197. But for anybody who wants to become part of this pilot program and help develop this course and work with me and engage with me and really shape the course that you guys want to have, it's just $67 to enroll. Okay?
Oh, that's awesome.
You're saving more than 50%. But Dax, I know we spoke a little bit earlier in the show how you've been always there for me and the Tarot Guild has always been there for me, and I love what you're doing, and I want to help you guys empower more people. So for just listeners of this show and for just listeners of the Tarot Guild, I'm going to take another $20 off, and you can enroll in the pilot program for just $47.
Wow.
Okay? So that's 75% off the price of the course. And all you really need to do is take this module, go through the courses, and give me feedback on what you think about it. And the cool thing here is when the course launches in January and February, you're still going to have access to the course. You're not going to lose it. You're never going to be charged another dime, even when the course still is going to be $200. You'll never have to pay anything past the $47 again. And if you want to take advantage of that, you just need to go to www.garyhkarp.com/Tarot Guild. Okay, I set up a special page just for your listeners, and I'm going to put that in the chat room right now.
Okay.
And you'll be doing a wonderful, wonderful thing. You'll be able to take the course and really engage and participate in the creation of the course so you guys make it the way you want it. Now, this offer is only good until November 1st. So it's going to be open for another 5 days at this price, and then I will have all the students that I need for the pilot program, and the course will be closed until it launches in 2018. Now, just because it's closed doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to access the courses and work with me. You'll still have access to it. It just means that this opportunity will end on October 31st, maybe November 1st. It may run for an extra day. But again, if you want to do that, $197 regularly, just $47, and you will get to all the skills you need to increase the gratitude in your life. You're getting freebies as far as gratitude journals. You're getting freebies as far as visualization and affirmation recordings that have been recorded with the latest breakthroughs in neuroscience. It's really some cool stuff, and I'm proud of the work I'm doing. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help me out here.
Awesome. And you got the wrong link in there, but I fixed it. Okay, GaryHkarp.com.
Yes, I got the wrong link in there. Thank you. It's my own course. I don't even know where I'm sending these people.
It's okay. I got it in there for you. GaryHkarp.com/Tarot Guild. And so that's a special just for our listeners here today. So jump in on that one. It sounds fascinating. You know, I did a similar thing when I launched the Angelic Numerology and Tarot course because we were doing it live and building the course as we went along. I mean, we had all the modules figured out and everything like that, but we were able to rework some things. We were able to add some things, subtract some things, all because of the students that first got into the course, and it's a $297 course, but they got in for like a fraction of that and were able to help me build the course. And it's always fascinating. Yeah. Okay, so we're rapidly running out of time here. Let's take another call or two. We will be back, I think, let's see, the next show on Angelic Realms Radio is, I believe, the Tuesday show. Fridays, they were supposed to come back this week, but I heard that from Vivian and Fiona that they're going to have to wait to launch. They have some things, personal things going on, and so it's going to be November 10th when they come back. Bernie, on Sundays, she said she's coming back with her show. It'll also be beginning or mid-November when she comes back. We have another Monday episode in November, the third Monday. It'll be Maria and Janice and I on there with open lines. And I will be back next Thursday with Suzanne should be, I think that's November, so Suzanne should be back. See, I look at my calendar.
Yeah, I think that's November 2nd.
2nd, yeah. So hopefully Suzanne will be joining me next Thursday. We'll be doing open lines. Our next Angelic Realms radio show is on Tuesday, the 31st. It's Halloween, folks, so it's our Halloween show. So next week, tune in for Halloween on Tuesday, and also it's open lines. You're going to be able to call in, get free mini readings on air, and don't forget the Halloween Bash coming up in just 2 days, our private on-air first annual Halloween Bash, and you'll find out more information on that, tarotguild.org/Halloween. And make sure that you check out Gary's interviews, passionatetalk.com. Let's see, who's been waiting the longest? Looks like area code 954. Yeah, 954. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Lisa, and I'm calling from Florida.
Another Florida. Oh, they like us in Florida today. What do you want to chat about, Lisa?
I just wanted to know if you see any career opportunities coming my way.
All righty. So have you been job searching, career searching? What you been doing?
Yes, I've been putting my resume on different sites.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Gary's shuffling in the background there. Right off the bat, I'm getting that you need to pay more attention to your own intuition. It's like an empathic feeling about this. I'm getting the Ten of Swords, which is the overburdened card. It's like too many irons in the fire. You're passionate about finding that next career opportunity, but you're almost working too hard at it. You're struggling. You're putting the resume out on multiple sites. You're doing everything except for what the law of attraction says, which is to really focus in on what you really want and make that your priority versus, I call it the shotgun approach on radio, because we get calls like this all the time. I just put out 150 resumes and nobody's called me back. Well, that's the shotgun approach. You're just throwing everything at the wall. Hopefully something's going to stick to the wall. The way the law of attraction really works is the 180 degrees opposite of that. It's actually the lesson of the Hanged Man card, that sometimes we have to literally hang upside down and look at the world 180 degrees upside down from how we normally look at it. And so it's a matter of, changing and refining your approach, keeping the passionate aspect of it, because that, along with your emotions, actually fuels the law of attraction. And then there's the guidance factor. That's the guidance step, is getting really narrowed in on that specific job or career that you really, really want with a very particular opportunity versus multiple opportunities and just trying to see what sticks to the wall. I got the Two of Wands. There you are, searching the world, trying to find this, and what was I thinking here? Let's see what Gary. Gary, jump in with what you're getting. I'm gonna look up some more things. Take a look at some more cards, and you go ahead.
I threw 3 cards. The cards that I came up with was the Moon, the Seven of Pentacles, the Moon reversed, Seven of Pentacles, and the Knights of Pentacles reversed. Okay. Now the Moon is a card of anxiousness, anxiety. All right, because the Moon is that spooky area before the sunshine of day comes in and throws light on a situation that we were so scared about, and all of a sudden it becomes daylight and we're going, it was only shadow. There was nothing to be scared of. So I would say that this situation, you may have some anxiety on this. You may be putting too much pressure on yourself to find this new position. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. We have to remember that what you're really experiencing is fear over this. And fear, as everybody knows, is false evidence appearing real. Okay? It's just smoke and mirrors. It's not real. Mm-hmm. As one of the guests that I interviewed on my podcast said to me, when I said false evidence was appearing real, she came back to me, she said, no, fear stands for feeling excited and ready.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So if you can switch that on feeling excited and ready and really commit to what's coming your way. As Dax said, the law of attraction works when we are focused and intent on what we want, and we keep our minds focused not on the I need a job, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. Because what you're asking for in the law of attraction with the universe is not a job. You're asking for the need of a job is what the universe is hearing. So the universe is going to show you all the bad stuff and all the reasons why you need a job, okay? That goes into that Moon card and that fear and that anxiety that's really not real. Now we've come to the Seven of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, and they're really, in my mind, they're interlocked with the advice that they're giving to you. Because in the Seven of Pentacles, we see a man who's looking at a bush, and this bush is ready for harvest. One of the pentacles has fallen off the bush and is sitting on the ground, but the man is not standing there and harvesting the bush. He's admiring his work. He's not taking that next step to get that harvest, to create and manifest what he wants. He's just concentrating on what he did. So I would say that there's another step that you have to take. Yes, you've put all this energy into going online with these resumes, but there's still more to do. There may be job fairs that you can go to. There may be networking events that you can go to. There may be ways that you can get yourself out there besides just posting your jobs on the internet to network and make those connections that will get you that job. And that works right into the Knight of Pentacles, because the Knight of Pentacles is perhaps the slowest card in the deck. Okay? It shows a knight sitting on a horse, a big, fat, black horse that is not moving. Both the horse's paws are firmly on the ground. The knight doesn't seem to be in a rush. He's concentrating on the pentacle he's holding in his hand. Okay? There's green pasture on the other side, but the knight's not moving to get there. Again, this is saying that you need to take further action than what you're doing. Remember that what you're feeling and that anxiety is exactly that. It's not real. And see what else you can do besides posting the resumes. Go out to the job fairs. Go out and do networking events. And it doesn't have to be a typical networking event. It could be a party. It could be one of my favorite tricks when I'm working with people and helping them get jobs or switch positions is find something you really love. Go on Meetup, and if there's like something you really love, go to that Meetup group. It doesn't have to be a networking event. You never know where you're going to meet people but I think you're being fixated on, I sent all my resumes out and nothing's coming through, that you're not taking action elsewhere to help you move towards that position. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, for sure.
Awesome.
I would definitely.
And you know something, Gary? It's often not what's in the spread, but it's what's missing from the spread. So, like in my spread, I'm getting the wands, I'm getting the pentacles, I'm getting the cups. Those are 3 of the 4 steps in the law of attraction. What's missing is the sword. What's missing is the idea, the goal, the focus, which leads us all the way back to how I started off the conversation. Everything else is in place. You know, you're taking action. You've got the reason why, the passion. You've got the fuel for the law of attraction, the emotion. What's missing is the swords card, a sword step, which is actually step number 1. It's having the goal very specific, where you're able to focus on it. If it's not specific, if it's ambiguous, you can't create a visualization in your head. You know, what would it be like working in this environment, and be able to put all the details together, a 5 sensory immersion visualization. So it's not just what it looks like, but what does it, smell like and taste like and feel like and sound like. You have to get all 5 emotions and 5 senses, and it's difficult to do that and have the emotional fuel if you don't have a really strong focus, a really strong goal where it's already been fleshed out to where you can actually see it and hear it, smell it, taste it, and feel it.
Yeah, because I don't want to keep on doing what I was doing before. So I do want to do something different. Mm-hmm. It's just like what you were saying, to visualize exactly what it is so that it can manifest. So I could understand what you're saying, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I hope that helped you out, Lisa. Thanks for calling in.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys take care.
Thank you. You too. Have a great one.
Wow, great show, Gary. Lots of fantastic information.
Thank you, Dax. I thank you for having me on to co-host. It took me back in a time machine. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Remember to check out that link. It's only for our listeners. Go over to GaryHKarp.com/Tarot Guild, and you can pre-enroll for that special price of $47 and get into the gratitude course, and along the way help Gary form it into something really special.
Yes, sir. Yes, people. It's open and available for until October 31st, November 1st. I may have missed a day on the calendar when I set it up to close down the course for the pilot program. Mm-hmm. Just go there, $47. You get all the freebies, and you get the course forever and ever. Not a dime more than the $47.
Terrific. Awesome. Okay, Gary, well, we're going to have you back.
Oh, I will be more than happy to come back anytime, and I'd like to extend an invitation to you to come on to Passionate Talk and be interviewed and have you play guest, being the host.
It's always nice being on the other side of the mic.
Yes.
All righty. Well, we're going to say goodbye for today, and don't forget to go over to tarotguild.org/Halloween, tarotguild.org/Halloween, so you can join us for our Halloween bash. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll be back next Thursday with Suzanne. Bye, everybody. Bye, Gary.
Bye, Dax. Bye, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us.